Now, last December, there was an unfortunate incident took place at the Peacock Gym in East London when Harry Senior, former England boxer from the Lynn in South London, suffered a stroke as he was sparring. We'll find out more about this in a moment. Anyway, the long and short of it was he had a stroke, then another stroke, then he was hospitalised for a long time, and he's not doing terribly well, to be absolutely honest with you. And some people have got together to try and raise awareness for Harry's plight, and also to try and generate some cash. And I'll give you the details about how you can get involved and find out more. But first of all, what I decided to do was to speak to... I wanted to speak to Harry's old manager, Brian Lawrence, who looked after the unfortunate Darren Sutherland and plenty of other fighters, including Ian Knapp. And I grabbed hold of Brian earlier on, and I had to, go straight in, really, because I knew it wasn't going to be easy with talking about Harry.
Yeah, I managed him for all his boxing career, really. And
when was the last time you saw him, Brian?
Well, before the incident where he was injured, I hadn't seen him for about 2 years. But I actually saw him on that day when he had the stroke.
Were you actually at the Peacock that day?
Yes, I was there with Ian Napper and a few other my fighters.
And what actually happened in the ring? Because I've heard so many contrasting reports, and to be honest with you, I've dismissed most of them. What you tell me what happened? What you saw?
Oh well, the sparring just started. He just started to spar with it's with the chap who won the European title,
Albert Sosnowski.
Yes.
Yeah, he went on to fight for the world title. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was the first round. It only just really started, and I just saw his right hand kind of drop down. Like he was boxing with one hand.
Wow.
Yeah, so actually I'm the person. I jumped in the ring and intervened with the sparring. I stopped the sparring and got him out of there.
Right.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't right. But he actually had a stroke then.
So I mean, was he communicating then? Was he talking to you okay, or was his voice slurred?
Well, he couldn't say nothing. When I got the head guard off of him, he couldn't talk.
So did you rush him to hospital there and then?
Yeah, I found the ambulance straight away.
Because what's amazing is, I did this story last December when it happened. I remember talking to Sosnowski's people, and then I thought nothing of it until about June of this year when I discovered he was still in King's College Hospital. Did you know that he'd been kept in and he was still in hospital 6 or 7 months later?
Yes, he had 2 strokes. He had one then, and he had one the next day.
Wow. And
yeah, go on.
And they've had to perform some surgery on him, haven't they, to ease the pressure on his brain, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's gone through surgery, and a piece of his skull is still out at the moment. They still haven't put it back in. Yeah, a bit of the bone, yeah.
Yeah, a bit of the bone flap. So, when was the last time you saw him, and how is he? I mean, is he okay now? I mean, he doesn't look okay now, but how is he in himself now, Brian?
He's got some movement on his right-hand side. Okay. He can say a few words, but his eyes, he's very alert and everything. He knows exactly what you're saying to him and everything.
And he knows who you are and stuff.
Oh, yeah, he knows. He knows. Anybody who goes to see him, he knows who they are.
So what's the prognosis? What are the doctors and the specialists telling you? Will it be 6 months, a year, 2 years, or is he as good now as he's going to get?
Well, that we don't know.
Okay.
I know Harry Senior he's a fighter, and I know he's very determined. So, but how much recovery he will make, only time will tell.
And then, Brian, at the time, you said you hadn't seen him for a couple of years, and you bumped into him at the Peacock when you were down there with Napper preparing for one of Ian's fights. Was Harry, he was sparring, was he sparring because he was thinking of making a comeback, or was he sparring just to make an extra few quid against the champion? Why was he back in the gym? Because it's 10 years since he'd had his last fight, or 9 years.
Well, that in itself is a good question, but he was, he had money, financial problems. So he was just looking to make extra money.
As a sparring partner?
Yeah. He couldn't get a license, his license was... he had a detached retina, that's why he had to retire.
Wow. So I tell you what, it's a that sort of murky old ground there, isn't it? You know, when we've got a guy that wouldn't be allowed to fight, but he's back in a boxing gym sparring, and you know, I understand the guy's got to get a living, but it's a bit of a dark area there, isn't it, Brian?
Yeah, the boxing board has their rules, and you know, you got to abide by them. But you know, it goes on. Everybody knows it goes on. Yeah. You know,
doesn't make it right, but it does go on.
No, it's still a bit of a grey area because the rules said if you're not a licensed fighter, you cannot spar with a professional.
Yeah.
But then you've got the top amateurs come and spar with professionals.
And they're not licensed, and you get guys from the mixed martial arts circuit in the UFC. So it's easier to criticise, but as you say, it's a big grey area. So what's the plan at the moment? Obviously, this fund, and I'm going to give details about how people can contribute. But are there any events planned to try and raise some money by Mick Collier and yourself? Anything planned, Brian?
Well, we've thought to do it just direct. If people just donate the money, it goes to the Boxing Board of Control.
Sure.
If you go on their website, all the details are on there.
Brilliant.
So we can just get money straight to Harry Senior's family.
Yeah.
You know, so that cuts out, you know, having to do an event where it's going to cost money to do an event. You've got your overhead.
Yeah, it's got massive overhead.
This way, all the money goes direct to Harry Senior and his family.
Now, before I let you go, Brian, and thanks for this tonight, because I know this has not been easy for you. Before I let you go, can he walk at the moment, Harry, or has he got a nicely adapted wheelchair? I mean, what sort of can he get around?
He's the physio he's having him trying to help him to walk, but he can't walk at the moment. He's in a wheelchair, but because he's very weak on the right side. Okay. His left side is good. But he's very weak on his... Yeah.
Just to go over it one more time, this wasn't after 9 rounds of sparring. This was the very start of the first round, and it wasn't like he'd been hit or clumped before then. It was literally, as soon as he got in the ring, you noticed there was something wrong. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was only a few minutes into the first round. He wasn't on 9 rounds or nothing.
Of course.
You know, he's had a stroke, and I suppose, you know, he most likely would have had a stroke if he was doing something else.
Yeah,
you know, when a stroke comes on, it's going to come on.
Yeah.
So he actually was in the ring, but I don't think boxing actually brought on a stroke.
Just happened to be in a boxing ring at the time.
Yeah.
On a slightly lighter note, you had a win last week for your man, Eric Occhion, the Eagle, had a win, making it 5 out of 5 in a year. You impressed with him? The kid does his work?
Oh, yeah, he's a great little fighter. You know, I can see this is going to be the next British champion.
Oh, good, that's good.
I mean, he stopped the...
Spitko's strong as anything,
yeah, and he stopped him. He actually stopped him.
He doesn't get stopped, man.
Yeah, and he don't get rid of it. You know, he don't get stopped.
No, he don't.
And so Eric, he's come on a lot. Since he's turned pro and he's joined me, he's improved a hell of a lot.
And finally, before I let you go, one of your other champions, unfortunate ending to his fight back in Junior Napa. The heat overcame him. He had to pull himself out. Will he be back, and is he okay?
Yeah, he's okay. I mean, he didn't pull himself out. I pulled him out.
Yeah, I know that,
yeah. But he's looking to move up to super bantam because he just can't make bantam anymore.
That was Brian Lawrence there talking about... well, it was a bit tough, really, wasn't it? Talking about Harry Senior and a little bit about Ian Napa. Now, if you want to find out more information, it's simple. If you go to different boxing websites out there, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, the address is, you've got to send it to, if you send it to the British Boxing Board of Control, or you can find different addresses on the different websites, Eastside, BoxRec, Doghouse, they all should have information on that. If you send it to the Boxing Board of Control, and I think it needs to be marked Harry's Fund, or maybe sit on it a bit longer until we're a little bit clearer on that, because we don't want to be sending money left, right and centre, and maybe there will be something coming up as well. We just, we don't know. That's the way it works.